Hey everyone, I'm Jill the Wandering Stamper, and happy Wednesday to you. I started out today thinking I was just going to show you how to make a triple floating diamond card, just your standard triple floating diamond card. But then I was looking at my stamp sets and realized I could do something way cooler with it. So I'm going to show you how to do that today and what I did. We are going to use the gorgeous Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper and the Country Birdhouse stamps and dies, and some bling, some alcohol markers, a little bit of everything. It's super simple, but it's going to be the most beautiful card. So let me take a moment to turn the camera down and I'll show you how to do this. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be using, as I said, the Country Birdhouse stamps. I love these stamps. They're very popular right now. They actually coordinate with the Country Flowers stamp set. The flowers and the words are all the same font and same style, so everything works together. So if you get both of them, you can use those interchangeably, and I do that all the time. So we're going to be using those. I love, love, love the dies because they cut out the birdhouse, the birds, the flowers, the flower box, just so many things. They even have a little die for punching out the birdhouse stand and a little hanger to hang it from. Just very well thought out stamp set, and it's been a lot of fun to play with. So we'll be using that. We'll probably be using some of these 2023, 2025 in color opaque gems. Super pretty. I colored with several markers. Now there's not a Moody Mauve marker that I know of. I don't have it at least. So I used Fresh Freesia, I used Old Olive, I used Misty Moonlight, which is in the paper, and Wild Wheat, which is in the paper. But these two colors were close enough to what I wanted, which ended up looking really nice. So just because you don't have an alcohol marker that matches the paper exactly, look at what you have, test it on paper, because you'll find with the alcohol markers you can kind of get where you want to go with that. So we'll be using, well, I use those markers. We're not going to be coloring in the video because I didn't want to put you through that, because that does take a while. And then, as I mentioned, we're using the Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper. I just got this paper. I saw it and it was so pretty and I hadn't ordered it, so I ordered it. And I am having a blast playing with it. It's beautiful and it uses lots of the in-color colors. It's very earth tony. It's not super, super girly. I mean, it does have flowers, but they're not like all pink in your face, you know? And then the backs have some solids that are very nice. So check out this paper if you haven't. It's really, really pretty. So we'll be using that. I've chosen this pattern of just the Misty Moonlight tone on tone. And then I'm pairing it with these patterned flowers. And then this is one of the back sides, or what I call the background sides of the paper. It's the back of this paper. This looks really nice together. And of course our card base is going to be Misty Moonlight, and then we'll be also using Basic White. So that is what we are using. Now let me show you what we're making. So I started out wanting to just make a triple diamond fun fold card. And you've probably seen these. They're super easy to make. I am going to show you how to make this, and I will have the measurements for this design card in my blog. So if you click on the link below, you'll get my blog, my online store, and all that stuff. So I am going to show you the cutting measurements for this, and as you can see on the back, it has plenty of space to write. And then to fold it up, you just fold all these pieces in like this, and you can put it in an envelope like this, or you can fold it like this and it fits in a regular size Stampin' Up envelope, an A2 envelope. So really, really pretty card. But when I was looking at it and I was looking at my stamp sets and trying to decide what stamp set I would use to create this card, besides using the Unbound Beauty stamps and dies, which I used for this card, I realized that you could make the card and have the middle be a birdhouse. How cool is that? I didn't know if it would work. I tried it out. It works perfectly. So that's what we're going to do today. Same exact concept. It even folds up the same. You can fold it up just the same and put it in an envelope, but it uses the birdhouse as the center focal point. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do that. Super fun. And I'll also give you basically the measurements for creating the standard one. I just am not creating the standard one today. And again, I'll have both measurements in my blog, so just go there to check it out. So let's get started. So first of all, as I mentioned, we're going to do our base in Misty Moonlight, and you need a 4x8 sheet of paper. So this is an 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut it 4 by 8. So here is 4 inches. And then I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch off because I know this is 8.5 inches wide. And you're going to need 2 of these. So there's one. And let me cut the other one. So 4 by 8 again. Cutting off a 1/2 inch. Or you could just put it on the 8-inch mark on your trimmer. That would be fine too. Just pull this out. That's the beauty of the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. And my blade just fell off. Okay, so these 2 are cut. So now we want to do some scoring on both of them. You're going to be scoring at 2, 4, and 6. Super simple. Get this out of the way a little bit. So we'll score at 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches, which is up against this little extendable arm. And do the same thing for the other piece. 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. All right. Now, once you have those 2 cut and scored, go ahead and put them back on your trimmer at the 2-inch mark. This is with the short end at the top. And then make sure they're lined up, and then take a pencil, and you're going to want to mark right at, put a little hashtag up there at the center there and the center there, and then we'll erase that later. So what we're doing is we're going to cut both layers at once, and we're going to cut points, and we're going to cut them from the little mark you made down to the score line. All right, so to do that, just put it on your paper trimmer. I've got the little mark I used with my pencil right here, and then I'm going to line up the score line on the trimmer as well. Once you have that all lined up, just give it a cut. I cut through both pieces. If your trimmer's nice and sharp, that's no problem. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite point, and this is just so you can make sure your points line up perfectly. If you do it this way, they will both match. So there's the first side. Now you're going to do the same thing for the other side. So you're going to put it on your trimmer right at the hashtag, or I keep calling it a hashtag, little hash mark, and the score line, and cut, and then one more time. So I'm putting that hash mark there, holding it with my finger, putting the other score line on the trimmer, lining it all up perfectly, and give it a cut. Okay? So now you have 2 pieces that look like this. All right? So let's move this out of the way. And then I'm going to quickly just erase those little marks so they don't show. This pencil is great. This is a big pencil. The eraser's great for getting rid of marks. Okay, so now you have these 2 pieces that fit end to end, and their points are going to match up perfectly. So grab your bone folder, and you're going to go ahead and start folding these with the bone folder, and I just fold them all in the same direction, just like this, and give them a little crease. And set that aside and do the same thing for the second one. Okay, so now you have 2 folded pieces that are like this. So now go ahead and fold in 2 ends and put them end to end like this, so they line up. All right, let me grab a piece of tape. And so what you're going to want to do is you can get a piece of washi tape or painter's tape. I use this frog tape. It's really great. You just want something that will come off and not tear your paper. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this frog tape and I'm going to line up my edges perfectly even, and then I'm going to put this tape across, and this is just going to hold it for a moment, just like that. Now when you flip it over, you've got your diamond here, okay? And then you've got your half diamonds here. So that's how we're going to be attaching our layers. So let me show you what the rest of the pieces are. I've already cut them. So you're going to want, in your base color, you're going to want two, if you're doing the birdhouse card, you're going to want 2 diamonds cut at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. Now, if you're going to do your standard triple diamond card, you're going to want 3 of these cut at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, okay? And then you're also going to want 2 pieces of basic white cut at 1 7/8, or I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that's so you can layer it onto the Misty Moonlight. And then you're also going to want 2 pieces of designer series paper cut at 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, okay? So if you're doing this card, you're going to want 3 of each of those triangles or diamonds. But if you're doing the birdhouse card, you only need 2. So we only did 2 because our birdhouse is going to be in the middle. So we've got these 2 pieces. Then you're going to want to cut 8 pieces of basic white that are 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. 2 of these are going to remain blank and not put on mats because we're going to be stamping on these, and these are going to go on the back for your message. And then you're going to have 2 designer series paper patterns. So I chose this one and this one. These layers are 1 3/4 by 3 3/4, and they layer onto the white. And I decided for my birdhouse card to do 4 of this design and 2 of this design. If you're doing a basic triple diamond card, you're going to do 6 of these white. You're going to do 3 of pattern number 2, and I believe 3 of pattern number 3, so you have 6, okay? I did mine a little different because, so just decide, I usually decide my layout and then decide how many pieces I want to cut. So this is what I wanted to cut for this one. So I did 4 of this pattern and 2 of this pattern and 2 of this pattern. So those are all of our pieces. Again, I'll have that all below because I know that was a lot of information, but I'll have that all listed below. And then for our birdhouse, I just cut I die cut all the pieces ahead of time, so we'll assemble that in a moment. So let me show you how to do this. We're going to stamp these last, so I'm going to set those aside. So what I like to do is, these are going to be my 2 pieces for the corners, so I kind of figure out how those are going to lay, but they're going to be glued here and here. So you just want to kind of lay them out and decide how you want them to look. I think I'm going to put mine like that. So once I know, then I'm going to only put the glue for these on here. So I'm going to get my liquid glue out and put some liquid glue on here. Really, after you do all the cutting, this card comes together rather quickly. And now I'm just going to layer these right onto my diamond. And it fits exactly. So I just square up all my corners and make sure that they all match and just give it a press. All right, so we're going to do the same thing over here. Just like that. And I'm going to figure out which direction I want these to go. I'll do it this way. And then I'm just going to match this up. Got a little extra glue, so I'm just going to wipe that off and make sure all my points are lined up. Okay, so there's our 2 end pieces. Now normally you would have a third one, and the third one would go right here, so you would just put glue right here and pop them onto your third one. Now I decided not to do it that way. So for the front of the card, now I'm going to lay these out. So I'm going to want to figure out which direction I want these flowers. These go this way. So I kind of lay out all my flowers first and see where I want them. I'm going to put these solid ones here, or more solid. They're not really solid, they're tone on tone. I'm going to put those here because I want them to kind of pop out like that. So I think that's super pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. So I'm going to tuck these back and start putting glue on the backs of these pieces. Just using my glue press. I love this thing. And move this one out of the way, and I'm just going to pop these. I'm kind of doing this at a weird angle right now. I'm just going to pop these on, and there's just a little narrow margin, so it's very easy to line these up. Put mine a little high. I'm going to move it down a little. It's one beauty of liquid glue is it gives you a moment to reposition. All right, now I'm going to do my next one. I got to figure out which is up. And I'm just kind of also making sure all my tops line up. All right, now we're going to do the next panel, making sure my flowers are in the right direction. Have you ever done that upside down? I think most people probably wouldn't even notice if I have that upside down, but it would bother me. So I'm trying not to do that. So again, I'm kind of eyeballing everything to make sure our heights are the same. And then here is our last section. This card is so pretty. I love this paper. I like florals. Some people don't like florals. My mother-in-law can't stand them. She hates when I'm working on flowers and I'm showing her how to make something. All right, so I'm going to save these two for the back. So that's our front. So far, that's what we have. It looks pretty good, right? So now it's time to grab our birdhouse. So what I did was die cut my base, which is Misty Moonlight, and then I cut just a little square of brown to put here because I want my birdhouse to have a brown hole for the bird. So, and then I cut the designer series paper with the same die so I could layer that on there. So let's go ahead and put these on first. I like to put my liquid glue around the little hole and then put my piece of brown paper on because sometimes I put it in the wrong place and miss the hole. So that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead, I don't have my silicone craft sheet out. This is dangerous. Cross your fingers, people, that I don't get glue on the table. I gotta grab that out. We are moving our RV tomorrow to go on a little camping trip with my oldest daughter and the grandkids, and so I didn't pull everything out because I have to pack it up later, and didn't pull out my mat, so I really think I should. All right, so I'm just lining these up one on top of the other, just like that, and pulling out my craft sheet because now I'm paranoid. Where is it? Where is my silicone craft sheet hiding? Here it is. All right. So our birdhouse is there. So now I also die cut these extra pieces. So I decided to just keep pulling this paper in. So I decided to die cut the designer series paper to decorate this birdhouse. I thought that would be pretty. This is the reverse side of that tone on tone Misty Moonlight. Ooh, I just stuck my finger in the glue. Gonna be sticky. So I'm gonna put that at the top. I love how they give you the stamp, but they also give you all these fun dies. So if you don't want to stamp the birdhouse, you want to die cut it. It's such a great way to pull in all your colors in your paper. So there's that piece. And then I also die cut the little scallop piece. I thought that was pretty, and it's in the same paper. Just wanted to pull some color in. So I'm just putting a little stream of liquid glue there. And that goes right up against the other piece. And then since we didn't really have much wild wheat, I thought that was a neat color for the trim. You could also do the Moody Mauve since we have done some coloring in Moody Mauve, but just putting a little bit of glue here. Now you could use an adhesive sheet to die cut this. If it's hard for you to put the glue on, this glue press makes it pretty easy, but the glue sheet would definitely be a good option. So now this piece kind of goes right over the seam of where the two pieces meet, so it's kind of neat. It hides that little seam. I mean, you can't really see that seam, but it adds a nice little visual. All right, so now the next piece we have is this little flower box, and I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals, but I think before I do that, I'm going to add a couple of these flowers, and I'm just going to glue those down so that the dimensionals are not in the way when I go to... I tried to do this after I put dimensionals on the other day, and the dimensionals were in the way, so I'm going to do it this way. And I colored these with fresh freesia and old olive, and I know you can't see it, but I added some Wink of Stella to the flowers so they sparkle just a little bit. I thought that was super pretty. So I am going to put those here. I think I have one more. I'm just putting a little liquid glue on the back, and we'll do 3 like that. So now I can put my flower box over it and they won't obstruct it. So let me grab, I need a new sheet of dimensionals. When you get a new sheet of dimensionals, if you kind of do this a little, they pop off. The first few will pop off a little easier. All right. Whew, it's a little warm in here. I usually turn the air conditioner off when I'm making a video so you don't have to hear it. And today it's cool outside in Colorado, so I had the windows open, but I shut them and I turned the fan off. So whew, I'm getting a little warm. All right, now we're going to pop this on top. I love how the dimensionals give it that dimension. Guess that makes sense, right? So now I think I'm going to add these little flowers and give it another layer. So what I like to do is, these are one of the other stamps, and again, same color tone, and then I added some Wink of Stella. So I think I'll make one going up and one going down like that. So I kind of just look and see where the glue needs to be and put it on there. I don't want to have glue everywhere. And then you can always pull up the corner and add more glue if you need to. So there we go. And I'll do the same thing here. Let's see. We'll make these go up. Look how pretty that is. It's all coming together. And I have, of course, we need a bird, and he's going to go, you know, he could go right among the flowers, or the bird could sit at the top of its kind of perch, which would be there. I think we'll do that. So I'm going to use a big one and a couple of small ones. Look at that, my small sheet is empty, so we'll use some edges from this piece. These little edge pieces work really well when you're running low. All right. Now, if you find you have a dimensional kind of getting close to the edge, just take your pick tool and nudge it, and it just kind of folds under and you're fine. So we'll put it about right there. Look at that. All right, so we've got it mostly decorated. We may put a message there. So now you're probably thinking, okay, well, how is that going to work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down, and I know I only want to put my glue where this birdhouse is, and I'm not going to put it on the flower box at all because the flower box hangs off. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue to this portion, and maybe just a little bit right here. All right, because you don't want glue hanging off. And we're going to be cutting this. So now I'm going to lay it down just like so, position it, and then lay it down. Okay, so now our birdhouse is lined up with the point of our card, and it's okay if your flowers hang off because this card is not tall, so it'll fit in the envelope. So now that that's on there, you could leave it like that if you wanted to. What I like to do is just take my scissors and I'm just gonna fussy cut this piece off, and it's super easy to do. And I'm just following the die cuts, and you could actually even undercut it just a little bit, and that would work as well. And just cut it slightly under if you wanted to, especially if you didn't put too much glue, you can do that really easily. And I'm just cutting that away. There we go. So now our birdhouse is cut out. It was super simple to do. So I think all we need on the front is maybe a message. So I'm going to grab a little scrap of paper. I've got all kinds of scraps in here because I don't seem to get rid of anything. And I think I will grab the Hello Friend stamp right here, and my little block, and my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I'm going to ink that up well and stamp that. And then I think I'm going to close that so there's not a disaster. I'm just going to fussy cut this. And I could use a shape if I wanted to. I could use a little die, like a little rectangular square die. I could use a tag. I think for this card, I'm just going to fussy cut it. And remember, when you fussy cut, just move your paper, keep your scissors still, leave a little border, and try not to make any sharp point cuts, and it cuts out super easy. So we'll pop this on with a couple of dimensionals. Ha, here's my little dimensionals. So I'm going to use a couple small ones. That's just a paper. A couple small ones, and we'll use a big one in the middle. I love that these are shaped so that they work for lots of sizes. You just manipulate your dimensional for what you need. So let's put it right here at the top of the birdhouse, just like that. Look how cute. And I think I'm going to leave these sides plain. You could actually add more flowers if you wanted to, but let's go ahead and work on the back. So now that our front is glued, you can just carefully pull away the back, and see, I use this frog tape so it comes off perfectly, and then I just stick it on my little craft cart so I can use it again. And now we're ready to add the back pieces. So one thing I just thought of is, you know, I really should have probably done the blue design so that when this is like this, there's a contrast, but you know, most of the time it's going to be opened like this, so I think it's fine. But if you wanted to, let's just go ahead and do it. What's the big deal, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change it to these so that if it's flipped over on this side, there's a nice little contrast. Why not? It doesn't hurt a thing. And I'm just going to flip it over and put it right on the opposite side. Nobody will ever know except for you. Of course, it helps to get it straight. Make sure I'm putting it on the right piece. I could have also put it on my blank pieces and just flipped over these two to stamp on, but this is fine. That way if I mess up my stamping, I have another side of paper. So now I'm going to put my glue over here and glue this down. I think I like this blue better on this side. Make sure your card is the right direction. I've done that before. You've probably seen me do that before. And now I'm just going to glue that down and do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so those are glued down. Now all we have left is our two pieces here. So you just want to decide what you want to put on them. And I think I'm going to look at the Country Flowers. Where are you, Country Flowers? So Country Flowers also has, as I said, coordinating fonts with that. So I think I'm going to grab this So Lucky to Know You because it says hello friend on the front. I love this set. This one's, I can't decide which one I like better. I think they're pretty much a tie. So I'm going to add the So Lucky to Know You because I think that really goes well with the hello friend. Open up my stamp pad here. Now you could stamp this in Misty Moonlight, you could stamp this in any color, but since I already stamped the other sentiment in black, I like to do the same thing. I'm going to do this over here on the corner. Okay, nice and straight, yay. Now I think first of all we're going to clean this stamp off. I think I'm actually going to add one more thing. Let me put this stamp away. Otherwise my stamps will be in the wrong packages. I think we should add a little flower down here. That would be nice. So since we put the word on one side, I'm going to put the flower over here. Just like that, and we'll color that in. All right. It's coming together. So now I'm going to hope I don't make a mess. Let's get this here. All right, so we'll make our flowers to match what we did on the front. So I'm going to grab my old olive, and I used fresh freesia because it was as close to the Moody Mauve as I could get, and it looks pretty, so we'll go with it. So I'm just going to, this is the light fresh freesia, and I'm just going to quickly color this in. Now you could totally, a lot of time on this back piece, I'll just leave it black and white, but I wanted to add some color back here, so we'll do that. And then I'm going to use my light old olive. I've got to get a new one. I used it in a class and the tip kind of got messed up. Got to order another one, but the other side works perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to grab, now that that's been a second, I'm going to grab the dark fresh freesia and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading. Give that a second to process. And I'm going to do the same thing with the dark old olive. I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the leaf. All right, now giving that a second, I'm going to just go back over it with the light fresh freesia to blend it all in because you don't want any harsh lines. Right? That's not pretty. All right. I didn't really give it a whole lot of time to process, so hopefully it's had enough time. God, I hope you can't hear my dog licking himself right now. He usually goes in the bedroom with my husband, and he didn't want to get off the chair, so now he's going to town. All right. And since we added Link of Stella to the other flowers, I might as well add some to this flower and give it a little shimmer. Okay, flower's done. Now let's add our final pieces to the back. So I like to put the saying here and then the other part here so that you kind of have both pieces to write on. Of course, I had a little bit of black ink on my thumb and it's right there, but it's okay. I hate when that happens. I usually keep a baby wipe, but it wasn't on my radar today. It's okay. And just make sure you check the other side of your card to make sure you're putting your words in the right direction. I have done that and it stinks. Okay, so maybe we will grab, should we grab anything else? You know, I don't think it needs anything else. I'm not going to add anything else because we have that wink of Stella. All right, let's move everything out of the way and take a look at what we have. So here is our card. Look how pretty. That birdhouse, I just can't, it blew my mind when I realized the birdhouse fit in the diamond so well. So how pretty is that card? So now when you fold it up, you can just fold it up just like this, or if you have a bigger envelope, I mean, you could fold it that way. You could also fold it, I thought there was a third way I had it folded, but yeah, this is the way I would fold it and just put it in a regular envelope. I actually put it this way so this flower shows. So that's how I would put it in the envelope. You could do it either way, but it sits up just fine on the counter. And who isn't going to love to have this on their shelf? That is so pretty. It will stay up there all the time. So here is the other card I made. I used the same exact paper. I added happy birthday to the front, colored it in just totally different colors. I didn't even use the trim here. And then on the back, I added the little bird and hello friend. So that's our second sample. So pretty. And then just like that. And then here's our third sample. I used the Unbound Beauty stamps and stamped Faith, Hope, Love and added a piece of wild wheat ribbon. I used the dies from Unbound Love as well to cut out the little tags here, which ended up being really pretty, and then added some embellishments. And then on the back it says, "You're a true blessing," and I just left the flowers simple and didn't color them in. So there are our three samples. So pretty. I just love it. I can't wait to give these away. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to make sure to get notification of my videos. They usually come out on Wednesday, and I absolutely love showing all of my online friends how to make these cards. So like and subscribe, please, 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 and check out the link below for my online store and my blog, which will have cutting instructions for this rendition of the card, as well as the birdhouse one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to craft today. Happy crafting, and I will see you next week. I'm Jill, the Wandering Stamper.